Hi everybody, Joe Goodman here from Goodman Games. I'm really excited to tell you about our next crowdfunding that's launching on Tuesday, January 13th for Old School Adventures and Pinball Crawl Classics, as well as a number of other old school products, both t-shirts and especially products for the Dungeon Crawl Classics gamer. I'm here today to give you a walkthrough of the crowdfunding page. We get a lot of people who want to get all the goodies. So we know there's an advantage in looking ahead of time at what the pledge options are, how you get the bonus items, what the crowdfunding exclusives are, that sort of stuff. So that's what I'm going to show you in today's video. We'll actually walk through a screen share of the project as it's built right now. Now you'll notice it says for review at the top of the screen. BackerKit hasn't officially approved this project yet. BackerKit is our crowdfunding project or platform of choice, of course. But by the time we get to next Tuesday and launch this sucker, I am fairly certain it will be approved. We're still tweaking, a few things here and there, fixing some typographical errors and so on. But I think what you see here is going to be 99% of what you see when it launches. So it'll give you everything you need to make some choices around what to pledge for and so on. So as a reminder, if you just follow the project at all, you get a free monster, the Crawling Head, for both 5e and DCC. So definitely click the teaser page link below. Or if you're watching this after next Tuesday, after it's launched, then follow the project right away to get all the goodies. And if you pledge in the first 48 hours, you get bonus items as well. You get for Pinball Crawl Classics what we're calling the Mighty Deeds of Pinball, which are special rules for adapting some of the pinball moves that can be used in any DCC game. And for 5e, you get another whole new monster, yet another one. If you like this adventure at all, if you've watched this far and think, hey, I like this adventure, please make sure you click the like button below and subscribe to the channel. That's how we know to give you more content like this. But either way, let's kind of start diving in and talking about the projects themselves. So, Old School Adventures is for 5e. It is a 5e hardcover compilation. It is 160 pages more or less, and it's really kind of an adventure path. It's actually a great adventure. It is a classic low-level adventure. You start at level 1, and you progress through the trope of humanoids and caves. But we make things a little different along the way and sort of tweak things and modify things and so on. So what you actually get is maybe not exactly what you expected to encounter as you go through the adventure. And it ends with an awesome encounter with a dragon, which is very exciting, and it sort of sets up the next adventure. It is, of course, totally standalone. You don't have to pick up anything else down the road. And it gives you, 6 or 7 sort of full chapters to play through and even more from there. And then we have Pinball Crawl Classics. Pinball Crawl Classics is awesome. I don't know about you, but I love pinball. I've been playing it for a long time, and I know all the local pinball bars, all the local pinball haunts. And I have a special fondness for some of the classic games from sort of the late 70s, early 80s, which is also, frankly, a great period in D&D gaming. But at that era, pinball was not licensing things like Stranger Things or Star Wars or The Mandalorian. Pinball was creating its own stories. So what we've done is we've tracked down the folks who own the rights to some of the really amazing pinball games of the late 70s and early 80s that were their own fantasy stories. And we've written adventures to adapt the playfield art and the backglass art and the gameplay into DCC and MCC adventures. So you'll get standalone Dungeon Crawl Classics and Mutant Crawl Classics adventures for Gorgar, Swords of Fury, Centaur, Embryon, and Cosmic Gunfight, packaged together in an awesome box set that is frankly just a lot of fun and amazing art pulled directly from scans of the original silkscreen and pen and ink and amazing illustrations from back in the day. So those are the core items. You have for 5e, this awesome hardcover, and for DCC, this amazing box set. So now let's dive into the actual pledge levels and what you can choose in terms of which cover, which box set, that sort of thing. So we're going to scroll through the crowdfunding page, and you can sort of look at what the options are and decide like what you might want to pledge for. For Old School Adventures, this is actually really exciting for us. We're presenting you with some choices as to what vision of Old School you prefer. So there's 2 cover options. They're both hardcovers. They're both the same price. They're both going to have embellishments like foil and some spot gloss and things like that, depending on the cover. Your first option is that sort of pinkish, reddish, purplish, brown toned cover. It's amazing cover art by William McCausland, and it is in the retro TSR style. So if you were playing D&D in the late 70s, early 80s, you saw a lot of covers like this. And frankly, these days, you see a lot of covers like this as well. People have been trying to capture this look for a long time. I think for a lot of us, it means fond memories of amazing gaming. And we've added a few things. We're adding a distressed look to it. Chris Lindsay, our head of 5e development, he was actually at Wizards and part of the original team that launched the glory days of 5e, the 2014 edition. And he has some great stories. But one of his stories is about the time as a child, he actually literally fell asleep reading Keep on the Borderlands. He was so excited. He kept reading late into the night and then couldn't stay awake, and woke up in the morning and had creased and distressed his copy. So we're capturing some of that innocence of youth in that design for the one option. The other cover option, which I also love, captures the feel of that classic black and white art from the glory days of D&D and frankly, DCCRPG and many other old school games. It's embellished with silver foil that are becoming so that it really feels like the dragon is emerging from the portal. You'll get this sort of magical silver effect coming out. And then it also captures, in my mind, the kind of DIY, do-it-yourself zine ethos, this idea that anybody can create these amazing projects with this awesome zine style art. We're also looking at spine options, probably a flood of silver foil in the spine of that one. And I should mention also for the color cover, we're looking at a couple options, probably some spot gloss, and I'm leaning towards not a gold foil, but probably a yellow foil on the stripe to give it a real vibrant pop, but still some internal debate as to what the final options are. So anyway, those are your two cover options for Old School Adventures. If you want to see what the interior looks like, you can scroll down a bit and check out the PDF preview. This will give you a preview of one of the chapters. You'll see some of the art, see what some of the maps look like, and it's everything you need to know to make a decision for yourself. So now let's talk about Pinball Crawl Classics. There's a lot more on this page. I'm not going to go into everything. You could look at some videos and hear more about the back cover blurb and the description of the video or the projects and so on. But just to give you choices right now about what you might pledge for. Pinball Crawl Classics. So the core box set has the 5 floppy adventures inside. And what you're really deciding for here is not the contents, because either way you're getting Centaur, Swords of Fury, Gorgar, Embryon, and the one other I'm forgetting, Cosmic Gunfight, all of which are fantastic adventures, well adapted by the designers. But what you're also getting is your choice of box. You can get what's called a setup box or a traditional box with a tray and a lid and in the way they come apart. It's the kind of box you would find for any classic D&D adventure. Or you can get the clamshell box. The clamshell box is amazing. So when I say clamshell box, you may be wondering what I mean. I believe that Goodman Games is one of the only, if not the only RPG publisher sort of exploring this direction. But I love box sets. I always have since I was a child. There's something about a box set that's just magical for D&D and D&D related products. And what we're now exploring is what I believe to be kind of the next frontier of box sets, making them even cooler. So this is another project we did, but it was the proof of concept for the clamshell box set. What this is Terror from the Underdeep, and the clamshell box we did for this, you're seeing an advanced printer copy. This is actually scheduled to arrive in our warehouse in about 3 weeks, so backers of this project will get the reward soon. But this turned out fantastic. We added foil to the logo here, metallic inks to the spine, but what's amazing is the way it's built. So we have here the books on one side with printing on the interior, which forms kind of a GM screen, and then on the other side, elastic bands to hold books in place, and of course, even more amazing options behind that in terms of what you can print on the inside and all the contents. So I'm not telling you this to tell you about Terror from the Underdeep. I'm telling you this to tell you about how awesome clamshell boxes can be and what we're thinking about doing with Pinball Crawl Classics. So Terror from the Underdeep has the hinge on the long edge. For Pinball Crawl Classics, we're looking at a clamshell box that has a hinge on the short edge. So when it opens, it forms an L shape like a pinball machine, and we can print back glass art and playing field art to give it that real pinball feel, because we have the rights to all the original art from these amazing games. So if you get the setup box, the traditional box, you get the Gorgar art on the cover. If you get the clamshell box, you get the Swords of Fury art on the cover and in the playing field when it opens up. We're also going to try something which I think is totally crazy in terms of sound chips. My printer tells me, and they have one example they've done before, that they can do a box that opens and has that Hallmark card effect of playing a sound effect. I can't promise this. Operationally, we've never pulled this off. They've only done it once before, but we're exploring this option and we'll hopefully pull it off where when you open it, you get that Gorgar sound effect. Gorgar, kill you, or something along those lines, which I think would be really cool. So for all this stuff in this project, if you pledge, you get 20% off and a free PDF. I should have mentioned that before. Plus, first 48 hours, you get bonus items. If you followed the project ahead of time, you get the crawling head monster. There's all sorts of reasons to pledge. But as you're choosing which one to pledge for, the crowdfunding exclusives are the clamshell box, which is going to be amazing, and the embellished versions of Old School Adventures #1. Now, let's talk about t-shirts. We have a lot of add-on options. People love wearing t-shirts of our art because it's just great art. So we have 3 t-shirt options for you to add on. One is the Old School Adventures, that's Stefan Pogue, black and white zine style art, which I love. The other is the classic DCC Demon Skull by Doug Kovacs. And then, of course, the Pinball Crawl Classics logo with some sort of embellishments on it. They'll probably look like what you see on the screen here in terms of colors, although I want to try perhaps a silver foil or metallic foil texture probably on the Demon Skull. Full disclosure on that, we've done that in the past, and usually the foil itself actually wears off after 2 or 3 washes, and you're left with kind of a whitish texture, but still looks pretty cool. But if we do the foil, it's good for a couple washes. It won't last forever, but you still end up with a t-shirt that eventually has the whitish distressed look, which is also pretty cool. Anyway, add on a t-shirt if you want one. The size options, let's see, small through 4XL, and we have tall options for 2X and above, if I remember correctly. Now, if you're a DCC fan, there are a lot of add-on options for you, tons of them actually. So as you know, Dungeon Crawl Classics is its own rule system. But there's also Mutant Crawl Classics for post-apocalyptic fun, and X-Crawl Classics, which is kind of like modern televised dungeon crawling, the pre-constructed arena. If you die, you really die, but the magic is real, and if you really succeed, you become a superstar influencer on national TV. So we have the latest Dungeon Crawl Classics adventure, DCC number 113, Temple of the Blind Sultan. This is set in the Thracia area, so you can run it with Caverns of Thracia, but it's also standalone if you want to make it a standalone adventure. We have the next DCC Dying Earth adventure, the Arch Die-Hawks of the Dying Earth. This was run originally at Gen Con, I believe it was 2 years ago. Awesome adventure. It actually involves, in the end, full disclosure, you need roughly 10 players for this adventure because there's 2 tables of magicians, and in keeping with the Dying Earth, they fight each other at the end in sort of a PvP. Don't tell any players I told you this. It's really an unusual style of adventure, and it resulted in a really cool tournament. So it's not for everybody, but if you want to really capture that wizard versus wizard feuding feel of Dying Earth, it's the perfect adventure for you. Then we have X-Crawl number 7, Save X-Crawl, which was also run as a tournament adventure at Gen Con, and we ran it as an online tournament a couple years before that. So like all of our projects, it's heavily play-tested, plays fantastically. That's one of the hallmarks of our products. They play really well, and of course, they're a lot of fun to read. So in addition, for the Mutant Crawl Classics gamer, we've actually sold out of the original printing of the judges' screens. We have a new one that's printed on thicker cardstock. It is the same tables with some new art choices. And then we have, in addition, the MCC Archive of Adventure number 1. A lot of the original MCC adventures sold out a long time ago, so this compiles a bunch of them in hardcover format. Now let's talk stretch goals. So there's a lot of cool stretch goals. First, I should say, we would love to convert more of our titles to Foundry. Foundry is a very popular VTT platform. So the basic stretch goal I want to talk about here is if we get 1,000 backers for Old School Adventures number 1, we're going to add on an option for a Foundry conversion. You still have to pay for it. It's not free, but that'll show us there's enough interest to also offer Foundry if you want that in addition to your print or your PDF. Same for the DCC side. If we get at least 1,000 backers for DCC number 113, we will also make available an add-on option for that in Foundry format. Now, those are add-ons. You have to pay for those options, of course, if they're unlocked, but the rest of our stretch goals are free. And one of the things we do here at Goodman Games, when you pledge in the crowdfunding, you not only get 20% off, you not only get the free PDF, you not only get any early bird rewards or bonus monsters for following the project, you also get a stretch goal booklet. So when it's all said and done, when the dust settles, you get your shipment, you're going to get probably, depends on the stretch goals, but probably a booklet that retail buyers don't get. And that has all the stretch goals in it. On the 5e side, if we break 100,000, we will start doing side quests. So we have 4 of them mapped out, 3 side quests and 1 epilogue for the Old School Adventures number 1. And those will be packaged in their own stretch goal booklet. Then on the DCC side, Pinball Crawl Classics, we all kind of fell in love with Gorgar as a character. He's an awesome character, cool, iconic, classic demon. So starting at $100,000, we will be embellishing Gorgar as a character. We'll add patron rules. We'll add up to 3 additional spells, and I think we'll end up with a really cool stretch goal booklet for 5e and DCC backers that has all this new material in it. If we get above $300,000, we have some more ideas, and of course, we'd love feedback from you guys to make these projects even more amazing. So that's what we're looking at in terms of stretch goals and in terms of the basics of the project. Now let's talk about pledge levels. We're going to try to make it easy here for you to pledge in whatever format is good for you. There's not complicated pledge levels. It's very simple. You simply pledge for one item, your item of your choice, wherever you want to go. And then once you pledge for that item, there's a lot of add-ons that includes all the pledge level items as well as some more, and you can add those onto your pledge. So it's kind of mix and match, whatever works for you. The baseline discount is 20% off the MSRP across the board, plus a free PDF whenever you're getting print. So you get a great deal to begin with, and you can also pledge just for the PDF if that's your preference and get 20% off for that as well. The pledge levels also include the ability to pledge for a $1 level if you just want some of the special add-on items. So if you just want that T-shirt, or just want one of the the X-Crawl adventure, for example, pledge for the $1 level. And of course, we have a retailer level as well. So once you're on the add-ons page, you have a lot of different choices there. and you can pledge for whatever you like, and then mix and match to make it work for you.